Hello there. After just 45 days in office, Liz Truss has resigned, and Britain is already looking for a new Prime Minister. But there are problems. It's already clear Liz Truss is the British Prime Minister with the shortest term in history. With her failure, the domestic political crisis in the United Kingdom has reached its lowest point. There's also great chaos within the still governing Conservative Party. But what's next? But let's talk about what happened first again. The pressure on Liz Truss was too great. The Prime Minister, who has only been in office since September 6th, had tried to push through a radical tax reform. The plans, which were only to be financed with new debts, failed due to resistance from within her own ranks. After just a few weeks, Truss no longer had any authority, and other political projects did not hold up either. She then announced her resignation on Thursday. But what is planned now? Truss had prevailed in the summer in a week-long election process. The Conservative parliamentary group had chosen two candidates. In addition to Truss, it was the ex-Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. The party base had the last word in a runoff and decided in favor of Truss. A similar process is now planned, as announced by the head of the responsible faction committee, the 1922 committee. However, the decision should be made much faster, within a week. The nominees should be known on Monday. Then the parliamentary group will vote until two candidates remain. And by Friday at the latest, the party members will then decide on the winner in an online round. Little has changed in the starting position from this summer. Shortly after Truss' resignation, the names of ex-Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt, currently Secretary of State for Parliamentary Affairs, were mentioned. They came in second and third behind Truss in the internal vote last time. One possibility is that they have some kind of tripartite alliance with the incumbent Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, who also stood as a candidate in the summer, but is now said to have ruled out a bid for Downing Street. In this scenario, Sunak would become the new Prime Minister and Mordaunt would move to the Foreign Office. Hunt would remain Chancellor of the Exchequer. But why could that be a problem? Such a solution is seen as a red rag for the right-wing Conservative part of the Conservative Party. This wing has recently gained more and more weight and finally heaved Truss into Downing Street. It is therefore not excluded that this side will present their own candidate. A possible candidate is Suella Braverman, who was forced out of office by Truss on Wednesday as Home Secretary. The hardliner had been shocked in the past few days that Truss threw her economic course overboard and criticized. She caused a stir with right-wing populist statements on migration policy. And who is still also in the race? There are increasing indications that Truss' predecessor could try to become her successor as well. As the newspapers Times and Telegraph unanimously reported, Boris Johnson is considering a candidacy. The scandal-plagued British ex-Prime Minister Boris Johnson, I heard that his people said he wouldn't, but the Times and the Telegraph reported on Thursday, citing unnamed sources, after Prime Minister Liz Truss, who really had come under pressure, had previously announced her resignation, that Johnson will do it. Johnson would believe running for office is in the national interest, the Times said. After the Partygate affair and many other scandals, Johnson was forced to resign in early July. But he still has a loyal base of support in parts of the party. In polls among party members, Johnson did quite well, and quite a few think still that Johnson's 3-year term, which was marked by scandals, is not long enough ago for him to run again. But we will see. When he resigned in early July, he made it clear that he was not retiring of his own free will. Several MPs have already spoken out in favor of Johnson, although a parliamentary inquiry into the Partygate affair is still ongoing against him. A betting provider Ladbrokes, Johnson's return is highly valued, and he's extremely popular with the party base. On the other hand, Tory MPs are also warning of the ex-Prime Minister, who is viewed extremely critically by the electorate. Many thought he was a liar, stressed pollster James Johnson, who's unrelated, by the way. And I still believe and say that he's a liar. But why is there probably no early election? The calls for early general elections are getting louder. The opposition parties have been demanding this since Johnson's end. The next regular parliamentary elections are actually on the calendar for 2024. The latest date is January 2025. But given the weeks of turbulence and the fact that less than 0.3% of all eligible voters are again expected to decide on the most important political office, the political pressure is now enormous. But the Conservatives want to avoid a new election at all costs, as political scientist Mark Garnett says, because current polls predict a landslide victory for the opposition Labour Party. Numerous Tory MPs are likely to lose their mandates in this case. And even if it would be the best solution for the Tories, they will do the worst solution for the country again. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.